And now for more on the United States-China trade war and how Israel falls in the middle, we have Ilan Maor, the managing partner of Sheng-Bdo. Ilan, thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
All right, so first of all, how big of a role does China play in Israel's economy at the moment?
Well, I think it is a growing role in general, and technology, investment, trade, and so on. It's growing fast. We just started relations with China in 1992 when we had $50 million trade between the countries, and now we are above 10 billion. So we've been moved forward, but it's still probably the tip of the iceberg comparing to what can be done.
And so how great of a loss to the economy would that represent if Israel decided to go with America's route and kind of end trade, or at least severely limit trade with China?
Well, I think we're a little bit over-exaggerating it. I don't think the Americans really expect Israel to stop trade with China or to stop all the relationship with China. They start with security and defense issues, and then we agreed with that, and basically there is no military cooperation between Israel and China since 2001, 2002. And now we're talking about economy and business. If we stop the Chinese investors from coming to Israel, if we reduce the volume of trade, it will harm the Israeli economy. There is no question. We are talking about probably one of the biggest economy in the world, soon to be the biggest economy in the world. We are talking about the new world of unlimited opportunities. And giving it up does not make sense.
So then, the big question, will the United States, or rather, how soon will Israel have to choose between China and the United States, and what will that choice look like?
Well, I think we don't have to choose between them. We have been in this type of triangle for the past 20 years, managing relationship on the one hand with the US, which is our biggest ally on all aspects, political, military, strategy, and so on, and nurturing the cooperation with China, which is becoming an important ally of Israel. Now, aside of the military aspect, I don't think we have to choose. I think we have to manage the relationship. We have to be careful with what we do. And we have to be careful of letting ourselves being dragged into what is majorly an economic conflict. It is great that the American president wants his companies to make more money and bring more money to the US. This should not affect our cooperation with China on 90% of the aspects of the economy.
So, okay, so what are the chances, do you think, that the United States and Israel will kind of end this trade war anytime soon?
China and the US. Well, last week they said they're going to meet again in October, hopefully with the vice premier of China going to the US and trying to find a solution to this war. Can it be done? Yes. We have to remember that this is the last year. There have been conflicts and arguments between China and the US for many years. It was managed. It is more difficult to manage it now that it is led by a president who's very impulsive and sits in the White House and makes decisions relatively quickly and not always based on the advisory he's getting from the professionals. It's not what I'm saying. If you listen to what our former governor of the Israeli bank, Stanley Fischer, said last week, he said Trump doesn't understand trade, and what the US is doing now is harmful to the global economy. So I hope logic will take over, and the two countries will sit and deal with the problem. There are major issues that are real. There is a trade balance to deal with, and the Americans are right. It is unbalanced, and the Chinese are willing to balance it better. There are issues that are more into myth, like manipulating the currency exchange. There have been so many reviews by Americans and others say that this is not a big issue. So if they sit together and talk, I think they can find a solution to most of the problem. Whether they want to do it, both of them, that's the question.
All right, Ilan Maor, thank you so much for coming in. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.